Rocky Top, you'll always be home sweet home to me. Mr. Sports Travel in the Volunteer State, where it's great to be a Tennessee Volunteer. It's the Tennessee video. Before I tell you where Mr. Sports Travel is, have you taken the $50 pledge? If not, I want you to take the $50 pledge. Not the person behind you, in front of you, beside you. You to take the $50 pledge. Please donate $50 to OperationFirstResponse.org. I wear my heart on my sleeve. I recommend you too by donating $50 to OperationFirstResponse.org. They help our veterans, our service members, our first responders, and their families. Thank you for your kind attention. Now, where is Mr. Sports Travel? And by the way, when you donate $50, I will help you or someone you designate, a friend, a family member, plan their sports road trip and or meet you in the flesh or do it over email, video, whatever. All right, now, where is Mr. Sports Travel in the great to be a Tennessee Volunteer? Well, I'm not in Knoxville, home of the University of Tennessee Volunteers. And with each of these videos, as we celebrate the 50 states, as I turn the big 5-0 this year, I'm going to tell you my favorite Tennessee sports memory, my most recent Tennessee sports memory, and my first Tennessee sports memory. But first, the big question, where is Mr. Sports Travel? And I am at Bristol Motor Speedway, baby. It's Bristol, baby. If you know anything about the South and sports in the South, you can simplify it to two sports: football and racing. And what you got here is the Bristol Motor Speedway, which is considered one of the premier racing venues in all of NASCAR and really all of racing. Now, Mr. Sports Travel has been to Daytona, he's been to Talladega, he's been to the Paperclip in Martinsville, he's been to Darlington. He hasn't been here yet. He's here now, but he hasn't been inside. But, hint, 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 he's hoping to go this year. Mark his 50th birthday. Dirt race, baby. Looking forward to it. Fingers crossed the weather's good and it's a beautiful night. So Bristol Motor Speedway, Bristol, Tennessee, that's where I am. Right on the border, you got a Bristol, Virginia, you got a Bristol, Tennessee. This is a main highway. Sorry for the noise, but I can't stop the cars from driving. This is the Highway 11 right here. And the reason I'm shooting across the property is A, I'd have to get permission for Bristol Motor Speedway probably to shoot on the property. B, I think this is a better view. You can kind of see off to your left here what looks like a little hills going up there. And if you're up in the concourses, way, way, way up in the, I guess that would be the southwestern seats, you can see out into that. I've been inside, just haven't seen a race. That's going to change soon, my friends. And Mr. Sports Travel, the everywhere man, is looking forward to seeing a race in Bristol, baby. Now, here's sort of the main entrance. The other reason I chose this venue. This is like the main entrance. So if you're a racing fan, you've heard of this. If you're not a racing fan, now you know. Bristol Motor Speedway. It's up in there with the Talladegas, the Daytonas. Hey, the traffic subsided a little bit. Now you can hear me a little bit better. All right, so let's talk about Mr. Sports Travel's first Tennessee sports experience as he celebrates his 50th birthday in all 50 states. Most recent Tennessee sports experience and favorite Tennessee sports experience. And of course, this is all subjective. Actually, some of it's factual and then some of it's subjective. The factual part is my first sports experience in the great state of Tennessee was minor league baseball. I want to say 2000, maybe 2001. I went to see some Appalachian League games, not far from here actually. Elizabethton, Johnson City, Kingsport. Had a grand old time. It was the summertime. I want to say late August. Bonita. Weather was nice, had a great time. So 2000, 2001, somewhere in that neighborhood. Most recent experience, haven't gotten here to Bristol yet. That's going to be later in this trip. Carson Newman basketball in Jefferson City, also not that far from here, just down I-81. Has a very cool gym, Carson Newman does. I was there in December, actually it was December 1st, 2021, so not that long ago. We're in 2022 as I take this video here. Favorite Tennessee sports experience? I'm going to give you two, and one has an asterisk because it's kind of symbolic, and I'll explain why. Again, going back to when you think about the South, and I think to me the South starts in Virginia. Again, subjective, but I think it starts in Virginia. And the South really goes all the way, really, to Louisiana. Maybe even parts of East Texas and up into southern Missouri. It's Missouri, not Missouri. Okay. Maybe parts of southern Illinois. There's remnants of the old South. but certainly here in Tennessee. And you think football, you think racing. So I'm going to give you football. Tennessee Volunteers. That is the place to go to see a football game. Sorry, Tennessee Titans. You're not the same level of atmosphere and game day tradition as the Tennessee Volunteers. You're just not. There's nothing like a Tennessee Volunteer game. I've seen 2 games. Probably my favorite game was the most recent one, where they played BYU. Early game, September 2019, I believe. Don't quote me on that. And fabulous. Back and forth, great atmosphere, beautiful night, sun setting over Rocky Top, Neyland Stadium. You got the Vol Navy for the tailgating. 100,000 singing Rocky Top. You can't go wrong. You cannot go wrong. My first visit there, Tennessee clobbered Georgia. That was in 2007, and that was the year I saw Georgia play twice, and they lost both times. That was when they had Matthew Stafford as the quarterback. So had Mr. Sports Travel not gone to those games, maybe Georgia would have won the national championship back in 2007. But he spoiled it for them. At Tennessee, they lost, and they lost at home to South Carolina. So I put a curse on Georgia in 2007. Sorry about that, second dog. Now, symbolic favorite venue. I'm going to say the Nashville Predators in hockey. You don't think of hockey when you think of Tennessee, but I tell you what, Smashville, as they call it in Nashville, Music City, Smashville in Nashville, great atmosphere for the Predators. So in 2010, as many of you know, the Everywhere Man has literally been everywhere. And one of my first milestones after the baseball, everybody knows baseball is my favorite sport. So in 1999, I finished seeing all 30 MLB parks. I was in my late 20s. Well, it took me another 10 years or so, 2010, to finish seeing all of the National Hockey League venues. Now, I grew up watching the old New England Whalers, World Hockey Association, with my dad, who was a season ticket holder, and then when they became the Hartford Whalers in 1979 and 80. Now they're the Carolina Hurricanes. But I didn't see every NHL venue until my adult life, until my late 30s. And the final one was, you guessed it, in Smashville, aka Nashville, downtown Nashville, the hockey rink, home of the Nashville Predators. That was December the 4th, 2010. I think on my NHL page of MrSportsTravel.com, you may see a photo of me with a sign. December 4th, Mr. Sports Travel, knocking them all out. And actually with the sign, I put down the first venue as Edmonton because by that point, when I started the 30, the Whalers were no longer in the NHL. The Whalers moved from Carolina, Hartford to Carolina in the 90s, at the end of the 96-97 season. Don't quote me on the exact dates. So really, now that I think about it, the 30 NHL teams, I think there were 30 at the time, including a team in Atlanta, which is now in Winnipeg. And of course, I've been to Winnipeg. It's a shock to see the NHL team there. But so really from 2002 until 2010, so an 8-year period, I saw a game at what was then every NHL venue. And of course, some have changed since then. The Red Wings have a new one. The Islanders have a new one. There's the Kraken. I've been to the Kraken. So, but that was a big milestone. And so hence, symbolically favorite memory, I would say after the Tennessee Volunteer football, the hockey in Smashville. Hope you've enjoyed the Rocky Top video. It's so great to be here, and there's not that much wind. Now the traffic's subsided. It's great to be with you. I'm having a great time, living the dream. If you've not donated $50 to Operation First Response, I would certainly be grateful for that. OperationFirstResponse.org. They're not paying me to do these videos, folks. I approached them. I 100% am self-funding my trip. If you don't know my story, my late father was in the Air Force, got me into sports travel. As I mentioned in this video, he was a season ticket for the old Hartford Whalers, season ticket holder for the old Hartford Whalers, which are now the Carolina Hurricanes. Dad took me to Red Sox games, minor league baseball games, coached me in youth hockey. My mother as well, very supportive, big sports folks. So I've always been on this journey, you know, since my late dad died in '99, going to all these different sports venues. Hence the nickname Mr. Sports Travel and the Everywhere Man. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Hope you understand my mission, which is to basically have this moving billboard to always remember that freedom is not free. We have veteran service members, first responders, police, fire, EMTs, and their families. They're in these lines of work because they're doing something greater than themselves. This is my little small part. I did not serve in the military. My dad did. I did not serve. do sometimes regret it. I'm an old fart now, so you're not going to let me enlist. But this is my way with the American Flag Car and helping support this charity that helps our veterans, service members, first responders. This is my way of giving back. Hope you enjoyed the video. Have yourself a great rest of the day. Be sure to catch my other videos. I'm doing one on each state across America, including the District of Columbia, my most recent memory, favorite memory, and first memory. Hope you enjoyed it. Welcome your feedback on social media. I'm at Mr. Sports Travel on Instagram and Twitter. That's mrsportstravel.com. And on Facebook, I'm Mr. M-I-S-T-E-R sportstravel.com. You want to learn more about me, my website, mrsportstravel.com, or if you Google Mr. Sports Travel, American Flag Car, you can learn a lot more about where I've been, my mission, as I've already talked about, etc. Have yourself a great rest of the day. Rocky Top, you'll always be home sweet home to me. Signing off from the Rocky Top State, it's Mr. Sports Travel. Bye-bye.